Yeah, so I had that shoot last night, and I know we're gonna welcome people in, and while we're populating, I'll talk about it. So I just kind of recycled my hair because by the time I got to bed, every woman knows you do not wash your hair and go to bed with it wet because you'll pay for that for the next 2-3 days. So all I did was just try to fluff it and just pull it back and save it. But yeah, we did the deer antler thing last night. We were just talking about man deer, and I was I was saying there was a show on Netflix, and I forget the name of it. It was about hybrid children. Hey, Destroyer Rex, what's up?
Chimeras. Yeah, it was about chimeras, but I can't remember what the name of
Yeah,
the show is called.
and there's one particular character is about a young boy deer, and how these hybrids were actually the future because they actually took care of the earth rather than Americans, not
Was it
Americans, sorry.
was it called Chimera? No, Sweet
No,
Tooth.
I don't think so.
Sweet Tooth.
Yes, Sweet Tooth. That's it.
That's
Sweet
it.
Tooth. And I fell on it by accident. I don't know. I don't even. I fell on it. I was like, things you might like, and I'm like, this looks stupid. And hey, drunk Chrissy. And I started watching a preview, and I was like, oh, dear people, I like it. So so I started watching it. I got sucked right in. It was so good.
It's really
So
cool. The pictures, you haven't posted them just yet, but the pre pictures of the photo shoot that you're doing look really cool. You had the blade, you had the deer antlers on. Yeah, I'm excited.
yeah. And I didn't end up using the blade, but I had a staff. So it was Keyleth from Vox Machina. So here's one of the pictures I did get back already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and I borrowed my friend's antlers, and I found the dress that matched, and kind of put the. It's not an exact Keyleth replica, but this is her. For people that don't know the character,
Okay.
and here's her
Let's say you
little.
look very elfish.
Yeah. I had the little elf ears on, and this is her. What do you call it? Her little gimmick there. So
Oh yeah, her
I
Funko
was
Pop. Yeah.
going from that. That's where I
That
took
look no,
my.
it's very. You're the only thing I think you might be missing is just the cape there.
No, I had the cape on
You had the
too.
cape? Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
see
let me
it.
see if I can find a picture with the cape. I did have it, but it was so hot. Oh my god.
Yeah, I can see that. Not wanting to wear it.
Yeah, I was like not loving the cape, that's for sure. Hi, Doug. How are you? What's up? What's up? Let me see if I can find it. Um, here we go. You guys get the sneak preview. So yes, I do have the cape on.
Okay, yeah.
But we were out in the sun, and it was super hot, and I found my little staff there, and then I ditched the cape shortly after because I was miserable, and I never put the video up. So
Now, when you shoot those, April, do you use a selfie stick or do you have a gyroscope type of holder for the camera?
no, I
Or
have
is
my
that
hand. I
your
use this right
you just
here.
hold it out right
I
here
just
at
yeah.
length?
I
Yeah.
got I
You don't
got ridiculously long monkey arms is what I have. This is my reach.
there's a that
Uh,
shot right there. We need to go back and pause it because it was
which
just a straight shot of your boobs
that's
on
what
on
we
the
were talking.
phone.
That's what I yeah. Because I was talking about how she holds like light, and I was like, am I holding the light? And I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is the only light my fans care about. So, hello,
Right
Alexa.
front and center. What's up,
Yes.
Alexa?
Hi, Steven. Hey, Cam. You're here. Did you bring your stripper? So, yeah, I know he's getting hooked up with the hot girls. So, Alexa, I haven't gotten a chance to say this lately, but I want to say thank you for all the wonderful things you're doing on all the social media for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are brilliant, and I appreciate it.
She's been stopping by a lot of the other shows that I've been doing recently.
Oh
So
yeah,
we shout her out all the way from Germany. I know sometimes she's got to be late.
I
It's
know
got to
they're
be
like
late for
six
her
hours
when
ahead,
she's
I
there.
think,
Yeah.
right? hmm Hi, Eva.
They apparently
So,
had
hey,
lunch
Chuck.
yesterday, April. There's your update.
Huh?
There's your update. They had lunch
Uh,
yesterday.
yeah. Well, if you find a badass chick who looks good and is loyal, that's wife vibes. I always said you got to choose between Ginger or Marianne. Okay, go for Ginger. Okay, everybody likes Marianne, but go for Ginger because Ginger is probably going to give you less trouble in the long run. So Marianne's are going to give you trouble.
Oh
And
yeah.
all of us that are Marianne's, all not us, all of you that are Marianne's, you know this. So 1:36 in the morning. Alexa's saying, "Wow, you're hardcore." So, hey, Lori. So, oh, she's got some felonies too. She's
Yeah, you
badass. She
saw
can hang
that.
with
Yeah,
you. She can hang with you. Yeah, it's right. Like you got to match up your asshole to asshole, right? Like you got to match up your stuff. Like I couldn't date somebody who's not like 50% asshole. It just wouldn't work out. If you're going to be all
sure.
nice and make me feel bad about my asshole side, it won't work out. So I'm all self-conscious about my ratty hair right now. Some from yesterday. So I guess enough people are in here. We can start. So
Yeah, let's do it.
why not? Let's do it. Hi, and welcome to the A Show. I'm I'm April Hunter, your host, and this is Colin Wysong. And we're supposed to say we're smart as the new sexy, but I kind of blew that one, right? So there you go. We're sloppy as the new hot.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So welcome everybody. Hi, Marvelous. Hey, Steven. Hey, everybody. So tonight we're going to talk about a variety of weird things as usual. So we're going to cover adult adoption, some of our biggest regrets. So if you guys have regrets, feel free to put them into the chat. We're going to talk about how you guys feel about the mask mandates being dropped for travel. What else were we doing? Oh, bent carrot situation. This is something I only just recently became aware of, and I have a story for you guys about that. So, yeah, or broken carrot, bent carrot. So, those are a couple of things we're going to talk about. So, hope you guys are doing good. So, yeah, here in Florida, we have always had, for the most part, we've always had choice. We have always had the ability to choose whether or not we wanted to have anything. We've never had mandates for the most part. You know, some of the private companies are, would request us to wear masks and things like that. But we always had the choice. Hey, Speedway, how are you? Hello to everybody joining us. But we've always had the choice. And for the most part, the majority of Floridians, as far as where I live and I've seen, have chosen to go and, be respectful and all of that, put their masks on, things like that. Just because it got so politicized, and whether they work or not, it seemed like it was the right thing to do to make other people, it was the polite thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, like I went to the Billy Joel concert here on Friday night, and we were on the floor and I was so packed in. I had to stay like this because I was shoulder to shoulder with somebody. And I was thinking to myself, because we're singing and everybody's screaming, big shot, and you're like yelling and screaming. I'm like, oh my God, if there's going to be COVID, this is going to be it. Because, oh yeah, sorry, Bon Jovi. Thank you. I wish it was Billy Joel. Bon Jovi. Went to the Bon Jovi concert the other night. See, I'm off. I'm so tired today. I apologize. So if I say stupid shit, please correct me. I'm begging you. And I'm thinking, if there's going to be a COVID situation, it's going to be there. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, even if they've dropped the mask mandates, if I'm on a flight, I still might actually put it on, because you're like sardine tinned in with people. And if they're sneezing and coughing and not covering up, I mean, I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Like, I'm glad it's not required. I'm glad we have options. I'm looking and it seems like you guys feel the same way.
Yeah, I think most everybody's glad to have the mask mandates off. As someone that works, I'm glad that I don't necessarily have to wear it. Mm-hmm. Especially like in the restaurant industry, being around like 400 and 500 degree ovens and flat tops and things like that. Like I get if doctors and nurses have to wear it all day, it's probably not hot and you're not moving around as much as one would in a restaurant or like working out and things like that. I couldn't imagine being at the gym and having to wear it. Now, The airplanes, the airplane, that's huge now for people on airplanes,
It
which
is.
they say that airplanes are the safest place to be anyways with the air. Like they say you're breathing new air in an airplane every 3 to 5 minutes.
They
The
do
way
have
the
some
air
pretty good
gets
HEPA
cycled out.
filters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even the masks aren't necessarily, as important on planes as they would have been at the or the Bon Jovi concert. You got me wanting
Either
to
one of
say
them.
Billy Joel. Yeah, either one of it, whatever concert you go to. Now, were they still being strict on vaccine passes? Are they still
No,
looking to see if
that's
you're
why
vaccinated?
yeah, that's why I actually went. I didn't think I hadn't been to a concert in 2.5 years. Billy Jovi, yes, at the Billy Jovi concert. No, they didn't ask for anything. Nothing.
That's
I
good,
mean,
that's
nothing.
good.
We just walked in. So it was pretty cool.
And
I
I
would
feel like Lori here, I like that we can make our own decisions. If you still
mhm.
people are not, when people wanted to take the masks off, people got made fun of. Now that people want to still have the masks on, they're going to be the ones that get made fun of in this situation. Which
Mhm.
again, it's your own personal preference. Again, it's always I feel like it's always been your own personal preference whether or not you should wear the mask or not. It shouldn't be mandated upon you. Um, in most situations that to put the mask on and have to be forced to wear a mask.
Oh, it's interesting how many people made and companies made it mandatory. And now they're, as somebody pointed out, flipping the script and saying you don't have to wear it. But they were so 100%, you know, you had to do it, you had to do it, you had to do it. So it's fascinating to me to see how many turnarounds there are, and I don't know.
You
It's
wouldn't
just
about you wouldn't be talking about these airline industries now, would you, April? How fast that as soon as it came out that they could no longer have the mask mandates on public transportation like that, they were like all of them came out within 30 minutes to an hour
I know.
of Biden coming out or the court report coming out and changed their minds. Yet these were the same ones that were like, "Hey, everyone on our flights, you're gonna have to be vaccinated too," right? Like they were
Okay.
pushing
Oh, I
a
know
lot
they
of this
were.
stuff really hard. Now
So
it's
my
like, "Oh,
1 week ago, 1 week and 1 day ago, my friend flew into town from LA, and they're still requiring all the masks. You have to wear a mask indoors and outdoors for shooting on the set outside, and it gets to be like 115 degrees out there. Still got to wear the mask all day long for 14, 16 hours out in LA on because it's a union. So he
yeah."
flies in Monday night a week ago. He's so excited to be in Florida. He jumps up out of his seat when he lands, rips his mask off because he's now in
Mhm.
Florida. And people look at him and go, like this. And he's like, what? Are you good? What are you going to throw me off the plane? We just fucking landed. You know what I mean? So somebody comes up to him, and a security guard comes up to him, and as soon as he steps off the plane, like, sorry, you have to wear the mask. And he's like, I thought this was Florida. So like it's different inside, you have to wear the mask. So like literally 8 days ago, they were enforcing it with security. And then here we are a few days later, they're like, nope, you have to do whatever you want. So
That's uh,
yeah. So it's interesting.
I've heard stories of people coming from countries where they're very, very strict on the rules, right? And as soon as they get up in the air and they're in international air and everything, it all just comes off. They
Hmm.
drop all of the shroud that they had in their original country, and they're like, "All right, we can be American now." Like
Yeah.
it's like that now for him. I don't have to be Californian anymore. Rip the mask off.
So I used to stay in Japan a lot because I'd work there. So I'd go over for, practically live there. And masks were just a thing there. Like they've
Mhm.
always been a thing there. So if somebody wasn't feeling well, they would here, Simba, there you go. Don't start trashing things, my cat. So if somebody wasn't feeling well, out of courtesy for others, they would put a mask on. But here's the thing. They didn't do it like we do it. So your hands would be clean. You'd wash your hands. You would, with clean hands, put the mask on. And when the mask time had expired, you would take the mask off with clean hands. You'd wash your hands and then throw the mask away.
Mhm.
You didn't put it in your purse. You didn't hang it on your rear view. You didn't shove it in your pocket. You didn't leave it for 2 weeks and keep putting it on and then adjust it and touch your face. Because I wonder if more COVID didn't happen because of masks, because people are now touching their faces all the time, adjusting and fixing and fucking around here. Like, I'm wondering if that didn't perpetuate the spread, because people are now touching their faces all the time with the mask and using dirty masks. And again, I've said this since day one. Everybody knows I've said cloth masks are a joke. They do nothing. They're just a fashion statement. So there was none of that in Japan. Everybody always wore the N95s and the medical mask. So being as though I was used to it over there, when I saw what was happening here, I'm like, oh my God, like what are these people doing here? Like, what are they doing with these stupid masks, these cloth masks, and they're wearing under here? It's like, that defeats the purpose. So I think the masks do work for some things. Obviously, like they'll work for some things, but I don't think they work for COVID.
Well, and I think with what you said with us keeping the masks on us for so long, I remember seeing news reports where doctors were saying more mouth issues and dental issues were coming because people were wearing the same masks, that the bacteria and germs
Mm-hmm.
from their breath and being around, they were just sucking that back into
Oh,
their mouths, and there was a lot more kind of mouth disease and things like that was happening because of the mask usage too. So there was a lot of health issues. Not to go into the issues with the kids being masked up too, but I think some school districts are still masking the kids and things when they go into class.
ugh, ugh, ugh. So so speak.
Oh wait, here we go. Chuck says it's because airlines were mandated by federal. They had been lobbying to drop the masks for the past couple of months.
He works for US Air. So so when you take
Right here,
federal
play it.
money, you have to do whatever the federal laws are, kind of like the
Mhm.
schools. So the schools aren't public schools, they are federal schools. We get it twisted. So there's that. Um, they're finding microplastics in people's lungs. Wow,
That could
really?
be from the masks, yeah, and the breathing in
Holy
the
crap.
particles and things like that.
Wow. All right. So wow. So there's that. And John says wash your hands. That's a problem in America. I do believe that's one of the good things that came from this situation is people
Yeah.
now know how to properly wash their hands. As I have autoimmune, and it used to frustrate me so badly how gross and unhygienic this country has been, and it has been acceptable for so long that when somebody would get a cold, I would get bronchitis or pneumonia, and nobody seemed to care. Like they didn't care. And if you don't have insurance, or you have crappy insurance, or you're self-employed, you're the one who suffers. And I can't tell you how many times I've lost work. Nobody cared. Nobody paid me out. Nobody did it. Nobody did nothing. It doesn't matter. And it happens every year. Somebody will have a cold, not care, not wash their hands, not give a shit, not put their nose there, nothing. And the next thing I know, I'm out 4 or 5, 6 weeks. 1 year, I was out about almost 7 months.
Yeah.
So with walking pneumonia, because I had it and got better a few months, and then it came back. So that was 2014. It was bad, off of somebody that had a cold. So it gets frustrating. So now at least people know how to wash their hands. Hopefully they'll take that with them. I hope.
Well, hygiene has definitely been a focus with this. I do agree with you about the hand washing thing, but unfortunately, pro wrestling fans, I don't know if that's ever gonna change, April.
To be fair, okay, I can't tell you the amount of times I've gone into a pro wrestling locker room and used the bathroom, and there has not been any soap in there. Nothing. And people are shaking hands, they're eating, they're taking a shit, they're doing whatever, they're picking their nose, they're doing this with their hair with the hot stuff, and there's no soap anywhere. So it's not just the wrestling fans. So there's
Funny.
that. Anyway, yeah. So it's interesting to read everyone's viewpoints here about everything. It looks like everyone's like pro freedom. I think we're just super burnt out on all of this and this totalitarian bullshit and the lack of choice. So one thing, if Gam says, one thing I did understand about the pandemic was elbowing. You are being told to sneeze in your elbow. Why would you bump elbows after you sneeze in it?
It's true because if you think about it, you cough here,
Yeah.
then you're just kind of like sitting there, just elbow
Yeah,
bumping
but then again,
for
if
the
you're
rest of
elbow
the day.
bumping, you're not really putting it near your
It's more so,
face.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not going. You're not eating with your elbow, like, and then putting it in your mouth. So maybe that's the concept behind that. So, and I've always been a fan of I stopped shaking hands
Just
in the
bump it.
locker room a long time ago. I just stopped caring what people thought. I'm like, yeah, shaking hands is gross. We don't have soap anywhere. We barely have toilet paper. You guys can go eat a dick. I'm not shaking your hand. Boom. Here, there you go.
April's got like wipes after every handshake. She's like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
handshake, wipe,
and then my hands are
handshake,
drying
wipe.
out from the sanitizer. My stuff. I'm looking like I'm 700 years old. I'm like, I'm not doing that to show respect. No. So, yeah. John goes, everybody just fuck instead. Yeah, we'll go like we'll go very dolphin about it, right? So, this weekend over Easter, I was made aware of something called bent carrot syndrome. Have you guys heard of this?
I have not. I thought this was something recent, so I put that in my Brave browser search, and
And what
something
did?
came up from like 2021.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know if that could possibly be what you're referring to.
What came up for you?
Well, I didn't click on it.
Okay.
It said something about bent carrot, and I'm like, all right, that's about a year old, so it might not be what April's talking
I
about.
think
So
it
I didn't.
probably is the one.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
okay.
It, I have an idea. I have an idea of what you could be referring to. This
If
April
you could
Hunter.
pull something up where there's a bunch of carrots and then there's like one, it's a
We'll find.
2022 commercial and there's one on top that's bent. I should have sent it to you, but I just
I'll look for the bent carrot commercial.
all right. So yeah, apparently
Got you right here.
this is the newest thing where Peyronie's disease.
Yeah, I've heard of this disease before, so I know it's not necessarily for me hearing about it. This isn't as necessarily new. I've heard of the disease before. Let's see, it's not pulling up the ad. All right, here we go. Maybe this is it.
So the medication for this is got a list of side effects. And with possible damage, you still have to do all this unbending and stuff every day to unbend your carrot. So it's interesting. We looked it up because I was like, really? So because I mean, are we now being told that curved carrots are bad? Like, hang on, because I'm going somewhere with this. Oh, you found it? Okay, here it is.
I got it pulled up right here. Hang on.
All right.
It's different from guy to guy, but when yours bends in a different direction, you might feel bothered by it. So talk to a urologist because a bend in your erection might be Peyronie's disease or PD. It's a condition that involves a buildup of scar tissue, but it's treatable. Xiaflex is the only FDA-approved non-surgical treatment for appropriate adult men with Peyronie's disease. Along with daily penile stretching and straightening exercises, Xiaflex has been proven to help gradually reduce the bend.
Exercises.
Treatment area involves your urethra, or if you're allergic to any collagenase or any of the ingredients, may cause serious side effects, including penile fracture or other serious injury during an erection, and severe allergic reactions, including anaphylaxis. Seek help if you have any of these symptoms. Do not have any sexual activity during and for at least 4 weeks after each treatment cycle. Sudden back pain reactions after treatment may occur. Tell your doctor if you have a bleeding condition or take blood thinners, as risk of bleeding or bruising at the treatment site is increased. Talk to a urologist about what your manhood could look like. Find a Xiaflex trained urologist at bentcarrot.com.
Bentcarrot.com.
What the fuck? Okay, so first off, every guy does those exercises all the time. So, okay, so here's the thing, right? If your dick is curved, you're fine. You're fine. We don't care. You're fine. Matter of fact, there's somebody out there. There's a woman out there for you who the spot is hit perfectly because of your curved dick. So do not stress out about it. Honestly, I mean, unless you have some kind of severe issue, don't let stupid shit like that think that you have a broken dick or whatever. Hello, Allie. So when I saw that, it reminded me of something that I saw in the plastic surgeon's office like a year and a few months ago. I had you're funny. I just read the chat. I had one of my implants rupture because I fell. Actually, I tripped over my dog Actually, she tripped me. My breast ruptured. I had to get it replaced. It was crappy. It was a crappy process. It took 6 weeks for me to recover and to go through all this crap. Anyway, so I was in and out of the surgeon's office a lot. Every time I was there, I'm sitting, waiting for my appointment, right? There's a screen. And in that screen, over and over again, was a labiectomy commercial. Okay? So it was constantly telling women in the office that their vaginas were not good enough. So that there was something wrong with their labias and that they should consider getting a labiectomy. So, and the guy, it's a man talking about how a vagina should be perfect. And I'm just like, fuck. So dude was talking about if you could have this trimmed up and made nice and made this. And I'm thinking to myself, when did we become a society where we need to fix our private part? I mean, it's called bumping uglies for a reason, right? So, okay. So as a female in a male business, a male dominated business, I can tell you, ladies, if a man is up in that pussy, he doesn't care what it looks like. He's just happy to be in that pussy. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Okay. So your vagina is beautiful the way it is. You don't have to get it fixed. You might have to clean it up a little with the fur. Okay. Keep that shit clean, but you don't need to have any surgery. No. You don't get to choose. Since when do people feel they're like, I don't know, man. So, and the same goes for your dick. If your dick is bent a little bit, your dick is fine. There's somebody out there that's
I think
totally...
here's his reasoning behind that, April. Sometimes you got to take what you can get at 2 a.m.
Maybe you do. But yeah, if your dick is bent a little bit, there's somebody out there that likes it bent exactly like that. Find that person. Your dick is wonderful. Your vagina is wonderful. Leave it alone. Don't get surgery or injections where you can have sex for 4 weeks and you might break something and have issues. Just leave it be. This is not something we need to be financing big pharma for. I mean, like, and then they fuck with our heads. Like, oh my God, is my vagina okay? Oh my God, I don't know. You know? It's like right up there with asshole bleaching. Who's making money from this?
Well, that's this. Oh my goodness. So I guess it's because I listen to I listen to more male oriented radio, like sports radio and that type of stuff. So they play commercials like this. Like there's literally a market, April, for guys, like doctors' offices go out and look for vasectomies around March. Do you know why?
Around March?
Yeah, around March.
No.
Because it takes about 30 days to heal up from a vasectomy. And if you're a man and you love college basketball, you get your vasectomy done around March. You
March
can
Madness.
Be off for all of March Madness, get to sit at home, rest those balls, enjoy televised basketball games for the whole and they market, like in the Triangle here in Raleigh, they market getting a vasectomy around the March time, right? Like, so there's a market for these types of things for men. Wow. So maybe now, because this is out there, but a lot of those commercials, when they talk about Peyronie's disease, they say that more so when you're at a 45-degree angle, right? Like I could see, like that carrot had a slight angle to it, right?
Right.
Like the commercials that they talk about, they're like, if your dick is more at like a 45-degree angle, then there's some serious issue there. It's like there's no way a guy's coming at you with his dick at a 45-degree angle, like an L-shaped dick, April.
Mm-hmm.
I've
seen a couple of dicks in my life, and 1, 2, 45, I don't know. And I've never seen that. So I don't know. Here's the thing, right? If you have confidence in how you look and you feel pretty good about yourself, you're not going to be buying things that make other people money. So there's a vested interest in making you feel like you are not good enough the way
of
you
course.
are. So Therefore, you're going to buy some shit to try and make yourself a better version of yourself. So, and I'm all for doing what it takes so you feel better for yourself. I will never lie to you and tell you I haven't done this and that and the other, and done the microneedling, a little Botox and the filler and all that shit, and got the boobs done. I've done it. Don't get me wrong. Big fan. But at what point do we say
Everything in moderation, right?
Yeah,
Everything in
exactly.
moderation, April.
Exactly.
Everything
My
in
carrot's
moderation.
fine. My
I mean,
carrot
if you don't want your dick bent, then learn to be ambidextrous.
right?
You know, don't just do it all with one hand and it goes that direction. There you go. Use different grips.
I'm referring to like shooting pool right here and trying to strictly at YouTube. This is
And you were worried this show was going to have enough levity, April.
I was, you know. So yeah. So we'll
Never make eye
switch
contact
over now.
while
We'll
eating a
switch over
banana.
now.
Yeah,
We'll switch over now to something interesting, something else. Actually, no, we won't. The 3 biggest regrets. Actually, no. Let's sit on that for a minute.
Yeah, I've got one. So we've had one I've noticed through all the calamity of dicks being bent and people talking about labia.
Is your biggest regret you have a bent dick and you never fixed it?
There's one. There's one. Yeah, there's that one.
Okay.
Let's see. I have one in there for somebody, so we'll save it when we get to that part of the
Actually,
show.
go ahead. Let's do it.
Okay, so we got this one from Gam Wolfers. I have some regrets. One, saying no to the doctor telling me to take Prozac and Trazodone.
Good one.
Number 2, I had a girl ask me out and I said no. Since then, I have been single since I'm too timid. So he's a little shy, a little not confident. Yeah. But there you go. He gave us 2.
That's legit. That's a legit. We all have that one person that we didn't go for it. We didn't go for it, or we said no, and then later we're just like, fuck. And like you think about it for like pretty much the rest of your life, you're like, fuck. So I think we all have that regret. Yeah, I'll tell you, I was on prescribed Trazodone for a while. It gave me the worst migraine of my life. I ended up giving it to Daphne. Because she was good with it. So I could not tolerate it. So as you know, as somebody else said, it's rough. Don't take that. So maybe it was a blessing you didn't get it, because I know Prozac is also an SSRI. And that can be a rough drug for people too, as far as weight gain and loss of sex drive. Some people do better on a non-SSRI. I don't know, but those are legit. You know, I can understand those can be legit regrets. For me, I regret letting my age play into my career choices. So I remember thinking at 28 years old, I was old and I needed to hurry up and make decisions. And I made some hasty, stupid, bad decisions thinking I'm getting old. I'm going to fall apart any minute now. I'm expiring like a banana turning brown. I need to jump and do stuff that I'm not necessarily into and I'm not necessarily comfortable with, but I don't have a choice because I'm getting old. So I regret that. I had an ex, let's just call him fuckface. And I ended up paying him out on equity of the house that without fighting for it, just because I just wanted to be done. And we weren't married. I just did it because I'm like, I wanted to be finished. And I guess that's, when people get divorced, I guess divorce is so expensive because it's worth it. So it was that situation. It's like, just go. But I wish I hadn't paid him out so much. Because women do get taken for a lot too. Guys aren't the only ones. And I regret fighting with my mom as much as I did. I think every female might be able to relate to this, because mothers raise their sons, or rather mothers love their sons, but raise their daughters. So mothers and daughters tend to this a lot. So my mom and I fought a lot, and I didn't realize until later that she had what was called Asperger's syndrome. She was on the spectrum. She was autistic. And we were just like oil and water. And with me being bipolar and her having Asperger's, being on the spectrum. She had to have her routine. She would get
Yeah.
upset if her routine was disturbed. She had to have a lot of sleep. She saw things a certain way, and being bipolar, I see things a certain way, and I'm impatient and quick and this, that, and the other. So we were constantly fighting. And ultimately she died young from lung cancer. And if I could take back the times that, if I could take the time to have gotten to understand her sooner than I did, that is something I wish that I could have done. And I say this because there might be. I say this because if you have somebody in your family who you don't get along with, but you love, there might be more to it. And if it's sometimes it's worth taking the time to try and understand their point of view, because the point of an argument is not to win. A lot of times is to just kind of understand where they're coming from. So there are my regrets right there. So
I probably think, well, this one would change a lot, and I've talked about this before in other things. Going to college, when I graduated high school, I was very burned out. Like I wanted to take a year off, not go to school, right? And I was pushed, and being told, hey, look, if you don't go now, it's going to be harder for you to go in the future. Right. When you want to go, you need to go now. It's going to be harder. Da, 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 da. So I
that's
went.
a bunch of shit too, isn't it?
Yeah.
I did the
And
same
then
thing.
I went to a college that was also on the other side of the state. Now had I gone now, there's been roads that have been built. Like the drive out there used to be, a lot longer to get out there. Now there's like a highway that goes straight out there to this town now. And so I should have gone to college closer to home. More or less, maybe 20, 30 minutes away to UNC Charlotte or somewhere right around there, right? But I should have taken a year off, honestly. Like I should have just worked, taken a year off.
Take the gap year.
Yeah,
the Rumspringer.
Yeah, find out, like know what it's like necessarily to live on my own, right? To see what it's like, not like, all right, this is what it's like to be an adult and not have to worry about school and you get up and make the day what it is yours. I was so burned out. I went to the classes that I wanted to go to, April, and then the other ones I just didn't go to. I did my own thing. Yeah,
Especially if they were
joined
early.
a fraternity. And did my own thing pretty much for a year while I was down there at ECU.
I think we all we relate to this.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest one right there.
Okay.
But it would change so much of my life, though, April. Like I would, if that had happened, I would probably not be sitting here with you right now. So, I can tell that one was such an early, that was over 18, 20 years ago that happened. My 20-year high school reunion's coming up, April. It's this year.
Are you going to go and see if everybody looks the same?
I'm friends with most of them on Facebook, and they still pretty much look. They still pretty much look the same.
So I'm seeing yeah, that's the fun thing. It's like Facebook's around. Why do we need reunions? But of course we can't get drunk together until we get a reunion. So hey, cheers. So yeah, free. I see a bunch of regrets. I regret staying married to an asshole so long. Yeah, I think like a lot of us stay in relationships too long, and I think due to the past like 2 years with the finances and a lot of places, like the city's getting so expensive, like certain areas like California, Boston, New York, even Tampa, like the cost of living going up. I hear these things happening a lot where people will split up and somebody takes the bedroom, somebody takes the couch, and they have to continue living together indefinitely as roommates. Because that's not toxic or anything. That's not,
No, it's super toxic. I've been in that situation.
I have too. And it's like now you're living with your ex and you're trying to get on with your life. And it's like, oh my God, and they wonder why we're having a mental health crisis. I mean, that's just one of many things. So, yeah.
We had this one here from Drunk Chrissy. Her one regret is leaving Florida at graduation in 1989.
But you're back. Drunk Chrissy. And we have the party pictures to prove it. Hey. Definitely regret doing the college thing. I've always erred on the more artistic side of things, and I feel more school structure just stifled my creativity.
Maybe
Yes.
an art school. Did you so
Yes.
because that's the outlet
Or
too, because
trade
everybody
school.
sends yeah, trade school. Everybody
Trade
tries to, "Oh,
school.
you gotta go to that 4-year, get your bachelor's degree." But they literally have art schools out there that you can go to and just focus on, like she does a lot of the pouring art and a lot of resin stuff. Like, I see a lot of the things that
Yeah.
Winona,
She does some
posts, and
really cool
it's
stuff.
some really cool stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. There's a lot of and right now, it was funny when I just graduated from Full Sail University in 2019, the summer of, and one of the things they said resonated with me so hard. They said, if you want to guarantee your children's future now, put them in art school because
Mhm. You gotta be creative.
everything we're doing is telling a story. Everything is visual. Everything is artistic. It's we're doing photographs, we're doing we're doing podcasts, we're doing streaming, we're doing music and production, and that
Mhm.
is these jobs did not exist when some of us even went to school. We're learning stupid shit like math. We're learning things we're not necessarily ever going to use, and we're wasting time with that when we should be learning programming or
Yeah.
social media, things
Or
that will
even
actually benefit us.
construction. They've gotten kids away from construction classes, like, they don't do well, I know home ec's not one of
Home
them, but
ec.
shop. I don't think
Yeah.
shop's like a big class that you take anymore nowadays,
No.
like
No,
it used to
I
be.
actually had shop class. We had leather, metal, and wood. And
Mhm.
no, she said wood. So yeah. So I had home ec too, and we learned sewing, cooking. I don't know, I loved it. It was great. So, but we also had I had
It's a
music
regret.
class.
I wish my mom like, she can still teach me how to sew, but I wish I had learned more how to sew and how to fix little things like that because it's so like, you lose a button, and it's so
I believe
nice to
that.
just know how to just sew a button back on,
It's
or,
easy. It's
like,
easy.
Velcro or anything like that,
Yeah,
like, just to use a sewing machine.
it's
Like,
so easy.
I feel so behind in life not know not
It's so
knowing
easy.
these
Hi,
skills, like, I feel
Fred.
like I should know, April.
It's so easy that it's funny. My friend says to me, he's like, "You cook every week. You need to set up a video and stream yourself cooking and showing how you're making the recipes, and show yourself sewing, and show yourself gardening, and show these things, and have a different YouTube channel and teach people how to do these things, these like old school things that people don't do anymore." He's like, because there's people out there that'll watch just because you have tits, and there's people out there that'll watch because they're actually learning how to separate egg whites from yolks and do these things. And I'm wondering, you teach them how to make soap, teach them how to make candles. I don't know,
Maybe
maybe
we'll talk off air about, April does things in lingerie,
I'm doing something in
Ap
lingerie
Ap
right now. This is my
Ap
pajamas.
April makes soap in lingerie,
I do,
that'll get
I
all of the
do,
views.
I
April
do.
podcast in lingerie, there you go.
Definitely, definitely. So, yeah, so so speaking of free speech, it's been an interesting thing this week watching what's going on. And thank you, Wolf. It's been an interesting thing watching what's going on with Elon Musk and Twitter. So apparently, we now know the cost of
Mhm.
the price of free speech. It would be $43 billion, and we thought it was free. We thought it was free.
Free
It's
nope,
not.
freedom isn't free, April. It
It's
costs
$43
$43
billion
billion.
and 9%. So I guess Vanguard went in and bought something like 10% just to cock block him. So that's kind of messed up, right? I mean, what's your opinion?
I think he can still come in and buy it. I think there's a lot of different avenues
Hmm.
for Elon to take in this situation. He's very smart
Hmm.
in how he did it. He's like and I think you and I spoke about this off air last week or maybe on the show. I can't remember. I remember we were talking about this, and I told you I was like, "Watch, he's probably gonna try to buy him." And then
Hmm.
like a day later, it was like it came out that he was gonna to try to buy him. And then the board, they don't even own without Jack, because Jack owns like 2% of the company. Jack
Hmm.
Dorsey, the creator. Without Jack, they own like 1%, if I think
Hmm.
that, if that. And Elon owns 9, and then of course the institutions, they own a large portion, but the institutions have to own large portions because the institutions like a BlackRock, like a Morgan Stanley, like these big time places that buy large amounts of stock, they usually are the ones that are selling the options and other leverage products and things like that. Like a lot of these are probably owned and in ETF shares, right? Like if you buy certain ETFs, you're probably getting portions of these shares that these company owns of Twitter in these electronically traded funds. But but yeah, I mean, they do work together. That most of these
Mhm.
big companies are all working together
Yeah,
behind the
they're all
scenes.
one big. They're all corporations under like that are. Yeah.
But legally, and we know how this would probably work out anyways. Elon could go to the government and show like, hey, look, I offered to buy this company at fair value.
Mhm.
This 1% of the board is trying to sit here and not take company. They're not doing what's logically correct for their shareholders, and they could be seen in contempt. There's a bunch of different loopholes that he can take, but he's also trying to make it seem like the board is not doing their fiduciary right as the board in taking almost a $10-15 more than what the stock price was per share valuation of their stock, when I'm sure if it was, he wants them to take it to a board vote, basically a shareholder vote, right?
Mhm.
And
I saw that.
he thinks that if he puts it to the retail shareholders, they'll actually vote to have Elon buy it and turn Twitter into a private company again,
Hmm.
basically, right? It won't be publicly traded anymore. It'll be solely a private company owned by Elon Musk.
I wonder how that would change things.
It would be more of a free, uh, you wouldn't have this backlash on Twitter as much if he owned it as a private company, because again, with it being a public company, you know, you fall on investors and things. It's the I hate to go on wrestling because you and we try not to talk about wrestling on this show, but it's
Oh, I
like
don't care. I
Vince
use wrestling
McMahon.
as an analogy for everything.
It's like Vince McMahon, and back when he was in the Attitude Era, right? He was doing whatever he wanted. And
Yep.
then the minute he went public with the company,
Yep.
all of a sudden they went from M is mature
Yeah, fantastic to
to where
boring.
Stone Cold is spraying people with beer to,
Yep.
hey, look, it's Kurt Angle spraying people with milk. We're
Yep.
cutesy now, right? Like, and that's who they have to answer to. And with Twitter, I believe that if he makes it a private company, he can go back to whoever wants to be on it can be on it. As long as you're following our simple guidelines and it's nothing outrageous, you can be on this platform. I mean, it's known that Twitter is shadow banning certain things
Yes.
and promoting certain things depending upon what
Yeah.
uh the way you lean politically, or the way you lean how they're trying to push the culture and those types of things, right? So I think Elon's just trying to make it an even playing field for everyone out there, even though Twitter's like the smallest of all the social media companies,
I
which
know.
is kind of
But
funny. There's this
it's
huge
also
uproar about
I
it.
was gonna say it's also the closest thing right now to any kind of free speech, because
Hmm.
everything else will remove and ban. Whereas for the most part, like for me, I talk a lot about controversial things, but the primary area, as some of you know, that I do it is on Twitter only,
Hmm.
because that is the one place where I feel, I don't want to say safe, but I feel like you can say more there without these ridiculous whatever going up and slapping you with labels or banning you, or a 7-day ban, 30-day ban, pulling it, all that stuff. So,
Well, it's the hypocrisy of it too, and that's one of the things Elon's trying to point out. It's like you kick off the president while he's president, you kick
mhm,
him off, but
mhm.
you have terrorists and people promoting violence and things like that on Twitter that you're not trying to kick off. So clearly, it's like you're being a public company with a certain agenda and not an establishment, a platform for people to be free and to say what they want and to interact with people and how they want, right?
Well, if I had to say one word, two words actually, when I think of America and Americans, one is friendly and the other is hypocrites.
Yeah.
We do hypocrite like we're going for the gold and it's an Olympic event. Like we are so hypocritical. I've never seen more hypocrisy than I have in this country. It's always do as I say, not as I do. And I didn't say that, and I'm gonna, it's awful. But that said, I want to interject right here and say thank you to everybody who has subscribed. Thank you to everybody who is here tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who is on Patreon It's Patreon, the A Show. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the bits. We appreciate the bits. Throw in the bits. It's nice. We have it. We have our hosting fee. So it's nice that, there you go, Colin. Oh, nice you help us offset that. I also wanted to mention that I'm on Tubi, on WEW and something else. Is it Peacock? Yay, bits. Thank you, Eva. Yay. And I also have Lake Collecticon coming up in, yay, thank you, Alexa. Why are only the girls are throwing them? Why are just the ladies throwing them? Come on, guys. Come on. Throw them for you, Colin.
I have to shake it more. There we go, Chuck. There we go.
Thank you. So yeah, I've got a few conventions coming up. I will post those on Twitter. It's Twitter April Hunter, and I finally got that blue check verification. Woo! On Instagram. So it's real April Hunter. So hopefully all those fake profiles will piss off.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm that took, gosh, a year and a half of rejection to finally get that. But yay. So one of the things that I this is the other thing on social media I wanted to mention that drives me nuts. It's the I support the current thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going places and I'm noticing Ukraine flags everywhere. Now, don't take this as I don't support Ukraine. I was married to a Ukrainian. I know probably a bit more about what's going on than most people. And my heart breaks for things going on right now. And I have the utmost empathy. But where we're talking about hypocrisy, this is what annoys me. We're changing everything over to the blue and yellow Ukrainian flag, whereas previous to, I don't know, a few months ago, most people didn't even know where Ukraine was. Most people had no idea what Ukrainian history is. Most people didn't know about anything Ukraine. They don't know the long history of this country. And it's interesting. Yeah, they can't find it on a map. They don't know it was part of the Soviet Union. They have no idea that it was the people were starved out for an entire year because of their fertile soil during World War II, while the world thought that nothing was happening. They have no idea the emigration to Canada. They have no idea what the hell this country has been under, and the multiple countries who have ruled or taken Ukraine and how it's been free for a very little amount of time on its own. They don't know anything about it. So all of a sudden everybody's like, Ukraine. It's like, well, okay, you get behind them. All right, that's fine. But where were you during Darfur or Rwanda or, the Serbia-Bosnia thing? I didn't see anybody changing flags over when all of that was going on. Nobody cared. Was it because, I don't know, Ukrainians are white? I don't know. Can I say that? I mean, like, what's the deal here? So nobody cared. So why do we care now so much? Why didn't we care when Rwanda was going on? So this is what I mean about the hypocrite aspect. It drives me nuts. So that's all.
No, that makes perfect sense, because there's at least an issue in Africa every day that somebody could say that. Like the mining of the minerals, the
diamonds,
in the cell phone,
yep,
the everything that goes on over there. There should be a
uranium
flag on your profile for it.
Yeah, there's
uranium, everything.
There's been military occupation in Northern Africa now for years. Nobody seems to know this because there's uranium mines there. So, but nobody pays attention. So, there's stuff going on in other countries. Nobody cares about it, but I support the current thing, and the current thing is blue and yellow. Like, how much do you actually know about blue and yellow? Not fuck all. I can guarantee you most people don't. So most of you can't even actually pronounce Gary Vaynerchuk's name. That's why I had to change it to Gary V, who he is Ukrainian. So that's what pisses me off. So I'm just going to say that.
I saw someone tweeting about, I guess there's a Russian YouTuber, or he's Ukrainian and he's pro-Russian. He stayed in the Ukraine, but he's in one of those parts of Ukraine that I guess is controlled by kind of the Nazi part of the Ukrainian army, like the not so good people, right? And apparently they've lost contact with him. and they believe that maybe that part of the Ukrainian army got him, and if they did, they're more than likely going to kill him because he's pro-Russian,
Pro-Russian.
like a pro-Russian Ukrainian or whatever. But I saw that it's been, I think, maybe a week since people have had contact with him, and he was going pretty frequently while he was there, right? And so now that they're not hearing from him, they fear the worst. But again, that's like you talk about, you only hear one side of it. You hear this President Zelensky and him doing his walkthrough and all the propaganda, but you rarely hear about some of the realness that's going on behind the scenes over there in Ukraine.
Ukraine and Russia have had tough relations going on for a while. And it's not like things haven't been aggravated because for Russia by Ukraine too, for years and years and years, if you follow up through 90s, 2000s and on. So it's not all one-sided there either.
No, this is
they
very
share a
layered.
Border, huh?
This is very layered,
Very,
global,
very layered.
Global issue here,
Mhm.
global political, geopolitical issue, I think is the correct word. But
Yes.
it's because, again, there's NATO issues.
Yes.
There's a lot of the
Yes.
Cold War issues.
Yes, and Ukraine's caught in the middle,
there's
and we're trying to get
yeah.
to. Yep. There's laboratory issues with Wuhan
bioweapons and things like
bioweapon
that.
level things being developed in Ukraine.
It even stretches to where Finland might also be a target next. So they're trying to, basically, we've gotten too close to their borders, and they're just Russia's trying to, hey, you're a little too close.
Contain.
Yeah, you're a little too close. Okay.
So there's that, right?
Mhm.
Everybody's supporting the current thing. They're all sending money. Okay. Meanwhile, we have a housing crisis here in this country. We have tent cities like crazy. We have tons of people living underneath of overpasses. We have a situation where the homeless have to work around a ton of different stupid rules just to get into places like St. Vincent de Paul and all these shelters. Some of these shelters are laden with bed bugs. Like, they're just so bad, people don't want to stay there. You have to have been homeless for X amount of time before you're actually even allowed in these shelters. Some people actually prefer to not be in the shelters because they feel safer being out on the streets. We have a lot of people out of housing right now. And like I said, some people are okay with it. That's their choice, but a lot of people are not. And I don't see a whole lot of help going towards them. But we're quick to take our money and send it overseas. Not foreign money. I know that's happening, government money. I'm talking about our money, our personal money. So we're quick to donate to help this country or some other country in a wartime effort, which I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying, why is there not a spotlight being shined on our own people who are not eating, not having a place to sleep, don't have a shower, don't have a bed? Because it's happening here in every fucking city, and nobody is seeing it. And it seems like nobody cares. So this is where it irritates me. If we made the effort and the awareness to take the money that we're sending overseas for this blue and yellow flag, I support the current thing, and put it here, and I support our own people who are homeless, and take some of these old buildings, gut them, make them into places where people can go and be safe. Hey, we might actually get somewhere, because we're only as good as our lowest common denominator, as our weakest link. So if our weakest link is on the street and can't get health care, and they've got cancer, and they can't feed their dog, and they can't even take their dog into the homeless shelter, this is not a good situation, and we're ignoring it.
Well, they need to. They've passed laws, allowing people to not live in cars in states and things like that. Like, they've made that, like, it's my car, like, it's my own property. Why can I not put it in a public spot and, like, live in it, per se, right? Like, you see people living in their things all the time, right? Elon is going to try to save some of that in California. He mentioned taking Twitter's headquarters, and turning it into a homeless shelter, which would be amazing. But I mean, that only solves a minute portion of the problem. I mean, it's you raise a great point. We're over here sending money to a campaign for a country, that we don't even really know what's going, like, why are these people fighting each other? We're just believing what we see on the news.
Right.
When you see the myriad of people standing on the corner every day,
Yeah.
asking for money, or just like, the Durham is starting to get really bad. So my experience with something like California would be more like Durham, right? Now, there's a lot of things that are good about Durham. Like, they have the Durham Rescue Mission. It's like this old hotel that they've recommissioned into rooms for women
Hmm.
to stay in that have hard times and things like
Hmm.
that. Like, we help out over there a good bit, but you still see a lot of the transient people. Like, the homeless issue is starting to become one of those things, and
Hmm.
they're trying to do something to help, but you still find tent cities and stuff, like, out in the woods, and, like, these little things forming under the overpasses where it is getting worse, and there can only be so many houses, the habitat houses built, and a lot of
Yeah.
times those don't even go to homeless people, those go to
Low income.
people on low income housing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go to people on the housing authority and stuff, that
Yeah,
type of
there's a
stuff,
place
so
I live near. I live near the woods, or in the woods. There's a place in the woods here called the Living Room by the cops, because people go and live there. They actually set up a couch and a tent, and they bring in. It's like a lot of homeless live there, and they just want a place that's safe. You're probably safer in the
Mhm.
woods with the coyotes and everything else than you are with the people. Because I mean, I would take my risk with animals before people, probably, because people are going to prey on people. So yeah, so the I support the current thing is bullshit. Okay.
Yeah.
Most people don't know anything about Ukraine. They don't know any history. They don't know what's really going on. They don't even know that Zelensky is an actor. He's an actor. That This is his first run as actually being in charge of this country. This country has a long history of all kinds of stuff going on. Most people don't know this. And we're being bleeding heart. We're sending money to a country where we shouldn't be involved in any of that. Okay, we have our own problems here. Why are we not making a concerted effort to keep the money here and put it where it needs to be? Like, redo some of these areas. You can do 3D printing. You can 3D print anything now, and it's cheap.
Mhm.
In addition to creating housing for people who are homeless, then we also need to create trade, teach trade. So it's not that difficult. It just takes a commitment. So why are we not committed? We need
It's
to
it's
think about that.
it's the leaders that we have in office that are pushing the money and the funding to these certain aspects and these
The
avenues.
leaders we have,
That's
well, the leaders we have in office are in with BlackRock.
Mhm.
BlackRock is the one buying up all the housing, and outbidding everybody on the housing, which is making it unaffordable for everybody. That's why we're having such a housing crisis. They're at the top of this food chain.
Yeah.
So,
Unfortunately, and it's sad, April, that we can go out there and we can start to raise money, but unless we put money towards a lobby and
mhm,
actually start like an actual lobby to pay these politicians money and things
mhm.
like that, nothing's ever really going to change. And that's ultimately the sad thing about uh our government and Washington D.C. in general is that it takes large sums of money to even get anything done, just to persuade people to do the right thing.
Mhm.
Like, why do I have to pay you millions of dollars to get you to spend money on the homeless problem here in your own hometown while you're too busy voting and sending money to wars and people over in these other countries that we're not going to see the benefit of any of this from? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, what
It reminds me of Oh, well, sorry. It reminds me of when North Carolina decided to do the North Carolina education lottery. Oh, like, the none of that money's going towards education. It's all going to pay other things not affiliated with North Carolina's education system.
Mhm.
Like, it's just one giant slush fund for government officials just to sling money wherever they want to.
Wow. And Winona said she tried to get a house built through a program like that years ago. Not only did they not build the house handicapped accessible as was agreed upon, once it was finished, they sold it out from underneath of her. and it went to an employee of the program's parents. Wow, that's some nepotism political bullshit right
I'm sure
there.
there's a lot more horror stories like that though that you hear
Yeah.
from a lot of
Yep.
these funds and foundations,
Yep.
going to people they know and not the actual people that deserve it and need it the most.
That's why they always say donate to a person, not a corporation. So you really have to kind of research it. So anyway, just something to think about. I think we can get a couple billionaires together and maybe they can make a difference. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Winona. That is awful. I can tell you that my nephew is paralyzed. He was in an accident and he's permanently paralyzed. And my brother managed to get something done where they could go ahead and change the house over and make it completely handicapped accessible. And they were able to do something with some kind of funding, but they had to keep on and keep on and keep on. So I don't know if that, like, being relentless about it and really kind of searching it, you might be able to find things, putting it out on social media, asking people for help. You'd be surprised how many people might try and help you. So I don't know. And
I
different
mean, there's a
people
lot of
are,
people that want to help.
they do, yeah, they do. It's crazy. People are always like, oh, people are the worst, and sometimes we are. But ultimately, I think when you put things out, people do like to help, and they will help you. So try it. I mean, give it a shot. So we'll finish
So,
with this. Oh, go ahead.
War Demon
Hey,
stopped by
War
the
Demon.
chat.
Hey, Chris.
He said he emailed us his 3 biggest regrets. So let me hop over to
Oh,
the
let's find it.
mailbag.
Okay.
Number 1, not being good about saving my money earlier in life.
Oh,
I
that's a
think
good
we all
one.
have a lot
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, that's a good one.
Number 2, my lifestyle choices in heroes, candy, what kind of weapons I like, Desert Eagles, yuck, 8mm, and that's it. Number 3, meeting and talking the people I have, that all abandon me or forced to abandon them. That's all I have. Good show tonight.
Thanks. Yeah, I know sometimes when you meet your heroes, it can be a bit of a disappointment. So yeah, and not saving money earlier. I think that's totally relatable. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I was always taught, hey, it's your money. Do whatever you want with it.
and
So
Wolf is saying, what do you guys think about WC now?
he's talking about WrestleCade, I think.
Russell Cade?
Hmm.
I guess we'll have to figure that one out. But I wanted to know. I wanted to leave on a note. Do you guys know that in Japan, the overwhelming amount of adoptions that happen there are not children; they are adults. So, because there's a low birth rate, adults adopt adults, and it's mostly due to laws and leaving people, handing down things to others, and but you can make somebody family by adopting them, and they do not have to be children. So I looked it up here in the United States, and we have the same exact laws to adopt an adult or adopt somebody over 18. It is the same law. It's the same way it happens with a kid. The only difference is they have to consent to it and sign the paperwork. So it's only one person's consenting signature. So it made me curious as to why more people don't know this, why it's not considered an alternative option to marriage for a lot of people who might not be into the idea of getting married, but they do like the idea of having family laws, like family allowed into the hospital if something happens, or something, God forbid you die, things are handed down to the next relative. You get all the laws that are given with family through adoption, and you can adopt an adult, but then you
Oh, that's
also,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you can even share the same last name if you wish. Insurance, all of that, you get
Huh.
all the legal stuff, but you don't have to worry about anybody taking half or signing a prenup. So why has this not been a
Don't get married,
discussion?
get adopted.
Right, exactly. But why has this not been a discussion as far as an option to create family and deal with legal issues rather than get married.
Now, how does that work on the proposal though? Does the person who is doing the adopting, are they the ones that get down on one knee and give the diamond ring like, "Hey, I want to adopt you?" Or is it vice versa like, "Hey, I'm adopting you. Here is this diamond ring, like welcome to the family."
I don't think there's any ring involved at all. I don't think anybody
There's
gets
no
on a
ring involved,
knee.
there's no diamonds or anything?
No,
Oh,
and
I don't know if the
it's
industry is
just
gonna like this, April.
I know. Maybe that's why it's the industry. I think it's probably just a very quiet situation where you sign some papers like, hey, yo, we're family now. We are
Yeah, we're
legal. We are
adopted. You don't
legally
even have to go
family
to, like, a
now.
courthouse. That's crazy, like,
No.
because now even if the most simplest form of getting married, you still have to have a witness and go down to the courthouse and then
Yeah.
make a whole big deal out of it
Yeah.
for the most basic form of getting married.
Yeah. And if say you okay, let's use a significant other. Say you adopt a significant other, right? And you guys split up, okay? It's like having an estranged family member. You don't have to get
That's my brother.
divorced. Right. It's like an estranged family. There doesn't have to be a divorce. It doesn't have to be any
That'd be
of
an
that. It's
interesting
like,
story.
right, exactly.
You dated your brother? Well, technically, he's, like, adopted.
Right, right. It's a cousin. It's a cousin.
It's a
It's like a
cousin.
second cousin. So, yep. So it's
Yeah,
just
drunk Chrissy says she's up for adoption. She knows how to bake.
she does know how to bake. She's like a professional baker. That's why I can't adopt you. My ass would get so fucking fat. But yeah, no one has big, expensive adoption parties. Someone put out there. Yeah. So no one's spending 20 grand on the, getting adopted. So again, you can kind of trace everything back to money. There's no adoption lobby. There's
Adoption reveal parties.
adoption reveal party. Exactly. There's no, yeah, there's no, what do they call them? Adoption planner. So you're gonna rent an adoption hall. The adoption
Oh
hall
my
is
goodness.
non-refundable. So of course we say that now, and in 15 years from now there will be an adoption
We're gonna see it
planner.
on TikTok.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have this video and we'll be like, hey, we said it first. It's gonna be a thing.
Somebody's gonna be proposing to someone and be like, "April, see, I told you there are rings involved
Yep.
when you adopt people." It was ahead of our time.
No kidding. So there you go. Just something to think about. So what happens if you adopt a serial killer or something? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
We'll miss you.
Yeah. It's called a learning experience. Everybody's a lesson or a blessing, right? And that one's a lesson.
No, it's definitely a little bit.
It's called a lesson, woman. So yeah, don't adopt a serial killer unless it's Dexter. It could be working in your favor, perhaps. Don't judge all serial killers as the same. It's like saying all podcasters are Joe Rogan. I wish. No. So I'm sure there are some perfectly respectable, intelligent, good, wonderful people out there who kill people and in a serial manner for a reason. Who
For the sake
maybe
of good.
Yeah, maybe who needed to die. I don't know. We can't judge. So who knows?
Well, I think it was Billy Jack Haynes that exposed the business and was like, yeah, we go out and do things for the CIA and the FBI all the time. So I'm pretty sure he was referring to himself and wrestlers and things like that.
There you go. There you go.
Professional wrestlers, they're doing the Lord's work out there.
Yep. And Torin, no, I haven't had a chance to contact either of them, but I am going to see about grabbing some guests and bringing them on here. I've been really busy, but if you guys know of anybody who might like to come on, just send me a serial lover. That's funny, Wolf. Send me something on Twitter and tag that person. And that's how we got Lori on here, actually. So tag me, tag them, and we'll see what we can make happen. We'll make it happen, hot stuff. So I think that's about it.
Sure.
So yeah, I've got a couple of Comic Cons and things coming up. I've got in June. It's a little early to start mentioning that, but I will say over Memorial Day weekend, I'm doing the reunion of the Iron Woman Tri Fitness in Tampa with Tori Wilson and Lisa Marie Varon, and a few others. So we'll be getting together and doing that. And then I'll be doing just started picking up appearances all of a sudden. So I'll be doing Tampa Bay Screams. I'll be doing PalmCon. I'll be doing Lake Collecticon. Yeah. So I'll be
Nice.
here and there, start picking some things up. So yeah. So I'll be ootin' a boot, and you can find me on Patreon, The A Show, for the rest of all of these. You can find me on Patreon, April Hunter, Instagram, Real April Hunter, and you can find Colin
On Twitter at Colin Wysong, on Instagram at Colin Wysong, and Wednesdays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, over at twitch.tv/ridiculously random pod for the Ridiculously Random Podcast.
Twitch on
With
Twitch.
my co-host Big Ray Hernandez. Twitch on Twitch.
Go ahead. Oh, there we
Do
go.
the Twitch
Are you
there.
cheating? Cheating.
Yeah, I'm cheating again. Cheating as always. These are PED enhanced.
There you go. They're
pictures
real,
here.
damn it. Shake them titties. There you go. Everybody, come on, join in. You all shake your titties now. Let's all have a titty shake.
Everyone shake your titties.
That's right. Shake your titties right on out for this podcast. All right, you guys, thank you for joining me tonight. I will be back here Tuesday night with Colin, possibly with a guest. We never know. You never know how it's going to go. 7:30 next week. And it was awesome to see you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah.